Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm one of the co-founders of AuditBucket. I'm going to dive in and give you a quick overview of AuditBucket and tell you about how it could be used in healthcare. So big data is disrupting enterprise left and right, but is it a challenge, an opportunity, or is it both? We think it's both, but it's mostly an opportunity that comes with challenges. Those challenges are volume, variability, velocity, and cutting through the noise. So we know that data comes from everywhere within an organization: Word documents, intranet pages, PDF files, etc. In fact, there's tremendous volumes of unstructured data being created and companies losing huge amounts of value by not capitalizing on the intelligence contained in those documents. The growth rates are staggering, over 120% per year, and this on top of 90% of this data only being created in the last 3 years. Data changes are also an overlooked challenge with big data. Things like address changes, revenue increases or decreases over time, and data that changes by definition, such as quarterly reports. So you may say that we're drowning in information and starving for knowledge. So how can AuditBucket help? So AuditBucket works by aggregating data. Data can be sent to AuditBucket via a simple and secure RESTful API call. The key is to include business context and views of the data out of an enterprise or a internally developed customer-specific application. Any of that data is transformed into a NoSQL key-value pair, and then AuditBucket, the engine of it, can iterate over that data, find connections and links in those data, and put those into a graph structure. You can use AuditBucket Search to interact with that data, search across it, view differences, view changes over time, etc. The compare function specifically is designed to let you address that change in data over time, figuring out who may have made changes to a record or so on. Finally, AuditBucket visualization will help you understand the links between your data, commonalities, and more. Looking at a compare function, you'll see here that there is information input on day 1 and 90 days later with updated quarterly revenue reports. When we think about that in a business loan application, we realize that the loan rate locked in on day 30 is no longer relevant at day 90 or day 120 when the loan is finally approved, because the risk factor and the loan rates should have changed based on the quarterly revenue. But how do you know about this if you can't compare the data over time? Graph databases help you see relationships and connections between the data. These connections are automatically built and stored, and they can be based on any commonalities found within the data sets. So if we drill down on a relationship and we look at the data nodes here, what we see is that nodes are sized based on their relevance within the data set. The connection thickness shows the strength between two nodes, and the distance and the degrees of separation are evident, just like a social graph or connections on LinkedIn or Facebook. In healthcare, you could use that to cluster normal billing data here and find outliers that are suspected fraudulent activity here. And that can be based on any kind of billing patterns, typical billing for a patient, a provider, a zip code, or more. Within evidence-based medicine, we can see, for instance, that if Mike, Amy, and Holden have the same sickness, we can look at the relationships and find that Amy and Holden have similarities and Amy and Mike have similarities, but Mike and Holden do not. So doctors looking to use evidence-based medicine can look at their factors such as family history, fitness levels, ethnic background, and more to prescribe the best courses of treatment based on each patient's individual factors and the relationships to outcomes of other similar patients. That's a quick overview on AuditBucket. You can use AuditBucket to track, find, compare, and explore data across any type within your organization. Thank you very much.